On the 15th of January 2016, about 8 months after Buhari's inauguration as president of Nigeria, something incredible happened. This incident caused panic in the country's capital. People were running helter-skelter. And no, I don't mean ordinary citizens. Powerful men were running for cover. A new sheriff was in town and it was not going to be business as usual. Mr. Muhammadu Buhari had ordered the investigation of 38 former military chiefs, officers and companies. Buhari had set up a committee to look at some military expenditure between 2007 and 2015. The new president was concerned about the inability of the military to defeat Boko Haram at the time, and he wanted to know where the country's money was going. So he started digging. After months of auditing and going over government documents and transactions carried out by the previous administration of Goodluck Jonathan, the committee discovered that about $2.1 billion was allocated to defense. The committee further alleged that the funds were either mismanaged or used by public officers for personal gains. This didn't sit well with the new president at all, and he unleashed hell on those involved. Now, I had to go over lots of articles on the court hearings to fully grasp the magnitude of the allegations we are talking about here. One article highlighted the ridiculous nature of the deal. Out of the $2.1 billion allocated funds, about $2 billion went to the Air Force. Then, nearly half of these funds spent by the Air Force, $930.5 million, went into 10 contracts with just a single firm. Now, after much trial and error, I've decided I cannot pronounce the name of this company, so deal with it. According to this committee's audit, these people spent $136.9 million for 2 used helicopters, which could not fly. A brand new unit of such helicopter goes for about $30 million. I mean, this is crazy, right? But wait, you've not seen the worst of it yet. One of the helicopters that was purchased eventually crashed, killing 2 service members. So not only were they overpriced, it appears they were kind of faulty. So who did this? The committee further alleged that the former chief of air staff, Adesola Amosun, confirmed the receipt of 4 used jets, while in reality only 2 arrived. But then the Office of the National Security Advisor said they spent money for 4, that is 4 used jets, and now we have 2. So are you saying now that we have 2 missing jets or something? I mean, going over this scandal, reading through the breakdown of the spending and those involved in this saga, I think we finally have a real-life money heist on our hands. But my question is, who got rich off this controversial arms deal? Colonel Sambo Dasuki is a retired Nigerian military officer. He served as National Security Advisor to President Goodluck Jonathan and briefly under Muhammadu Buhari's administration before he was replaced. I don't want to have to go into his biography, but it will be relevant to our story much later, so bear with me. Dasuki entered the National Defense Academy in 1972 and he received his commission from the Nigerian Defense Academy in 1974, after which he was posted to an Army Headquarters platoon. Now, it turns out that Dasuki and Buhari have had quite a relationship over the years. You see, when it seemed like Nigeria was going to hell in the early 1980s, Dasuki, who was then a major and military assistant to General Mohammed Inowa Woshishi, decided that a change was necessary. So he participated in the 1983 Nigerian coup d'etat that brought Major General Muhammadu Buhari to power as Nigeria's head of state. But then, barely 2 years later, Dasuki and 4 other majors participated in a palace coup that led to the arrest of the Nigerian head of state, Muhammadu Buhari. This coup was led by Major General Ibrahim Babangida. Dasuki continued to work as Babangida's aide up until 1988, when he was forced out by the then Chief of Army Staff, General Sani Abacha. Then in 1993, Dasuki got more bad news when he was forced to retire following the rise of General Sani Abacha. The General Sani Abacha regime also deposed Dasuki's father as the Sultan of Sokoto. He just wasn't lucky with this fellow. Dasuki resigned to private life in 2001 but waited until 2012 before he was appointed to government again by the administration of Goodluck Jonathan. This time though, he was tasked with the country's spy agency, a position that will land him in trouble with the man he was alleged to have arrested in 1985 following the palace coup. So hold on a second, does it all make sense now? Or are you still following?
You get it? If you don't get it, forget about it.
On the 17th of November 2015, President Buhari ordered the arrest of Colonel Dasuki, the former National Security Advisor, on alleged siphoning of the arms procurement funds. But Dasuki claimed that ordering his arrest by the president was somehow illegal. He claimed he was never contacted by the panel set up by the president to probe him. But before things got this heated, on the 19th of July 2015, operatives of the Department of State Security, which is popularly known as DSS, stormed his residence at Abuja and seized his international passport. He was also charged with unlawful possession of firearms and foreign currencies. On the 3rd of November 2015, a federal high court justice sitting in Abuja ordered the DSS to release his passport to enable him travel for medical attention. But they refused. Yeah, it's a thing, you can do that here. They prevented him from traveling abroad by putting him under house arrest, insisting that Dasuki have some questions to answer on the $2 billion arms procurement deal. So, on the 1st of December 2015, Colonel Dasuki was then arrested by the Department of State Security Services and transferred to the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, our good friends EFCC, for further interrogation. But just before Dasuki's arrest, 𝗫𝗪𝗂𝗪𝗂𝗧𝗂𝗪, a former director of finance in the office of the National Security Advisor, was arrested by the DSS, and following interrogations, he claimed to have acted on Colonel Dasuki's orders, which led to the arrest of Dasuki. So, this guy gave him out. That is what the story is basically saying. So, when Dasuki was then transferred to the EFCC, he initially refused to comment on the issues or write any statement for that matter. But he quickly changed his mind when he was issued a copy of the statement made by 𝗫𝗪𝗂𝗪𝗂𝗪 implicating him in the arms deal scandal. The EFCC basically said, here is a copy of a statement made by one of your aides and he is implicating you in this arms deal. And Dasuki was shocked when he read the statement. You mean Salisu wrote all this? You mean he said these things? Give me a pen and paper. And this was his hold my bear moment. As he took hold of the pen and paper, names began to flow. Dasuki gave a long list of people involved in the deal. If he was going down, he was going to take all the people involved with him. But who are these people and why is it Dasuki that is the face of this whole saga? Well, a lot of reports on the scandal have painted Sambo Dasuki as the mastermind behind it all, and this is maybe because he was the National Security Advisor. As for the people on the list, it is mouth-watering. This is Chief 𝗪𝗵𝗲𝗿𝗃. He is a Nigerian major entrepreneur. His company, Dar Communications, owns the popular African Independent Television known as AIT. 𝗪𝗪𝗃 was the organizing committee chairman of the People's Democratic Party National Conference in 2015. That is basically saying he was one of the people that fought so hard for the re-election of former President Goodluck Jonathan. Yep. On the 1st of December 2015, Chief 𝗪𝗵𝗲𝗿𝗃 was arrested at his residence in Abuja by the EFCC. He was mentioned by Sambo Dasuki as one of those involved in the arms deal scandal. Evidence gathered showed that Chief 𝗪𝗪𝗃 had received 2.1 billion naira between October 2014 and March 2015 from the Office of the National Security Advisor. Well, to his defense, Chief 𝗪𝗪𝗃 said the 2.1 billion naira received from the Office of the National Security Advisor was payment for the media and political campaign for the re-election of President Goodluck Jonathan. Yeah, initially I was wondering why the NSA had to pay or send money for the re-election campaign of a sitting president. I thought the office was supposed to be neutral, you know, like free of partisan political bias, or what do you call it? But I don't know. I mean, after all, I'm just a novice in this. So on Thursday, 1st of April 2021, 𝗪𝗵𝗲𝗿𝗃 was acquitted of all money laundering charges by the Federal Appeal Court of Nigeria. Yeah, let's move on. Nothing to see here. Another high-profile politician arrested in the list made by Dasuki was the former governor of Sokoto State, Atahari Bafarawa. In this case, evidence showed that the former governor had received 4.6 million naira from the Office of the National Security Advisor. When asked what the money was used for, he said the most shocking thing I have ever heard in my entire life. Not that I'm that old anyway, but you get my point. Bafarawa said he received the money from the Office of the National Security Advisor for spiritual purposes. Wait, like what? What type of playing is this? Are you kidding me? I think I need to get me some spiritual gifts. I mean, those things are paying real good over here, you know. On the 30th of November 2015, Ambassador Bashir Yuguda, a former Minister of State for Finance, was arrested and detained by the EFCC in connection with the arms procurement deal. Initial evidence collected showed that Ambassador Yuguda received 1.5 billion naira from the Office of the National Security Advisor. Premium Times reported that the funds were directly transferred to him from the NSA office, but he was unable to explain why. The transfers were made to his account between December 2014 and May 2015. An additional 1.275 billion naira was also transferred to his account during the campaign for the 2015 Nigerian general election. There was another report of a 775 million naira being transferred into his account from the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation. I think this one is what is known as miracle money, because I don't know, you just wake up and funds started showing up in your account like that. This has to be miracle money. Shaibu Salisu was the former Director of Finance in the Office of the National Security Advisor. He was also arrested in connection with the arms procurement deal. Investigation reveals that Salisu operates a joint account with Sambo Dasuki. EFCC operatives were quoted by one of the dailies as saying, quote, "We just discovered a huge sum of money in foreign currencies in a joint account being operated by the former National Security Advisor, Colonel Sambo Dasuki, and a director in his office, one Shaibu Salisu." Yeah, so it has to be this guy, right? There were other names such as Saliu Atawodi, Dahatu Investment Limited, Aminu Babakusa, and many others. I went through some documents that showed the money passed through several different private accounts. I mean, this investigation by the EFCC was so thorough. Thousands of documents. I must say, the EFCC did a great job in this investigation. Here is a little breakdown of everything I went through. On the 20th of November 2014, Shaibu Salisu, under the directive of Sambo Dasuki, who was the National Security Advisor at the time, went to the Central Bank of Nigeria and made a withdrawal of the sum of $47 million in cash. The money was loaded in 11 suitcases and delivered to the residence of Sambo Dasuki in Asokoro in Abuja. The request for that money was tagged Special Services, signed by the NSA Sambo Dasuki, and addressed to the governor of the CBN. This was a confession of Salisu that led to the arrest of Sambo Dasuki. Ambassador Yuguda, in his own statement, had claimed to have delivered a sum of 600 million naira to 6 chairmen of the National Working Committee, the Contact and Mobilization Committee of the People's Democratic Party for the 2015 general election. So what has this money got to do with the election? I guess we'll never know. According to him, the beneficiaries included Jerima Abdullahi, Chief Bode George, Peter Odili, Jim Nwobodo, Atahiri Bafarawa, and Amadou Ali. Some of these people denied ever receiving any money. I guess they were wrong account numbers, somehow bearing their names. It's possible. I mean, like, anything is possible in Nigeria, you know. Further breakdown showed 300 million naira was transferred to BAM Properties, 200 million naira was sent to the former PDP governorship candidate in Kebbi State, Bela Sarkin-Yaki, 100 million naira was given to a former governor of Zamfara State, Mahmoud Aliyu Shinkafi, 100 million naira was transferred to Dalhatu Limited. All these transactions were done by Bashiru Yuguda, but have there been any convictions? Adariko Michael, one of the prosecution witnesses during the trial of Dasuki, disclosed that the sum of 2.2 billion naira was used from the office of Dasuki to pray against Boko Haram. Michael, an EFCC investigating officer, revealed that the sum was used to hire clerics in Nigeria and Saudi Arabia who prayed for Nigeria to defeat Boko Haram insurgency. The ridiculous nature of this scandal gets me angry anytime I think of it. Like, people died, real humans, Nigerians died in their fatherland because the country could not protect them from insurgents. And when money was released to properly equip the military, you are telling me that we spend those monies on prayers. To whom are you praying? How much does God charge for security? And how many agents did that God release for the defense of Nigerians? The case against Dasuki was restarted in May 2022, but some of the names have already regained their freedom. Some have been acquitted. All I have seen going through this case has just been media trials. Some of the accused persons have been acquitted with no explanation to Nigerians. I mean, how do you justify an allocation of funds in millions for spiritual purposes? How do you explain the NSA sending money to a television station in the name of publicity and media services for the re-election of a sitting president? I mean, how will it sound hearing that the CIA paid for the re-election campaign of Donald Trump? Absurd, right? So how do these things make sense here? I guess I will never know. Thanks for watching. I need to go cry for our country because I don't see how we get out of this one.